I used to own real estate and became a landlord for precisely the reason you're discussing, which is long-term store of value. I This is going to protect my wealth. Now, the irony is, it was actually the worst investment I ever made, and
It
therefore
can
my
go
best
south so
lesson.
easily.
But it's like, hang on, so I just have to keep this stuff in self-custody. No one can take it from me. It goes up faster than everything else, and I don't have to manage it. Done. It's like, it was just
Right.
such an easy choice.
Yeah.
But there is still a profession that is required to sell shelter. So physical real estate has value for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's about bridging these two worlds. I actually still think that the finance industry is so far behind that no one's going to come along who's a mortgage provider and figure this out themselves. But what that creates is something even more interesting in a way, which is an entrepreneurial opportunity for private investors. So people like yourself and I who are talking about this model right now go, oh, do you know what? Maybe that means if I can get those kind of debt terms and I can find a property that I like in an area that I like, why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe Bitcoiners will start to become landlords. I don't know.
So here's one more piece. We were talking about the shortfall mechanism in that calculator.
Hmm.
We were talking about how somebody coming along can calculate that, and I was talking about the budget of a household. But I'll tell you the reason it's there. The reason it's there is because I put it in the sheet when I was trying to figure out how little I could get away with charging in rent.
Yes. Okay. So you undercut the market.
How many landlords think through that lens?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's like,
and the
how
re
can I offer better value to my customer? Yeah.
well, yeah, but on top of to paint the whole picture, if I take this property and I leverage it into a 20% range, I buy Bitcoin with that. I earmark that Bitcoin in my portfolio right alongside this property. How much less can I now get away with charging in rent as I work with somebody to buy that house from me and now live in it and own it, while that Bitcoin carries my need for profit and puts me in a position to be able to exit that house to a family instead of sell my portfolio to a BlackRock or to another landlord that's trying to build up a massive
Interesting.
portfolio, right?
Yeah. So in that way, that's actually an entirely different product. It's not just selling shelter, it's selling future stability for a family that don't yet have the equity to get there,
Yeah,
but they have the cash flow that they'd
right.
much prefer to be paying towards a house that they have some kind of vested interest in. As a renter of a property, if you break something in it, whatever. But if it's like, hang on, I'm slowly working towards eventually owning this place myself, you'd fix it.
Yeah,
So the property itself would probably be maintained better. Gosh,
you're
cool
absolutely right.
concept.
Yeah.
And Scott,
And
so
so,
please go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, I have some tenants want to do what we just described. Other tenants, they're going to rent forever. It's
Yeah,
fine. They're two different mentalities. However, the ones that you can recognize that do want to own, if you can get them into a house that they're interested in owning and that you're interested in selling, this is a model that you could explore to put in place. And then what that does is allows you to do kind of a lease option that actually puts them on a pathway. I've actually worked with a bunch of them. Sometimes I get the lucky opportunity to evaluate their credit with them before they go into the situation so that we can know we're on that pathway together at the same time, and I can coach them. Like they can check in on Credit Karma on a regular basis, and I can coach them on getting their credit where it needs to be. Then I attach them to one of a couple of mortgage brokers that I work with on a regular basis to exit to the actual family that lives in it, right? So I've successfully done that a few times.
cool.
And I haven't yet done what I've described here, which is as part of the equity of the property, buy the Bitcoin, bolster my profit out of the Bitcoin so I can actually charge a little less on the house and a little less rent to get them over the finish line even faster, right? So what I'm kind of doing is I'm looking forward to what we're going to be facing, which is potentially a landlord exodus.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out how can we smooth that process for everybody? And what's a scenario? And honestly, it's not like, hey, I've got the formula. It solves it for everyone. It's not that. It's just I'm starting to look at it and tweak the formula and play with it. Really, that's what it
Mm,
comes down to. And so if I can get that Bitcoin to give me the profit that I need because I tapped the equity, then I get to work with that homeowner and they get to buy that property at the end of the process. And
yeah, there'll be
and
people out there that
that
would love this, I'm sure.
and you're right that you said something that's really critical. Houses have value and the business around houses have value, and there are always going to be people that rent. And I don't see a big housing crash coming unless we as a nation roll into some sort of deflation, right?
Hmm.
Because the new prices for the sticks and the nails and the things we build the houses with, that's kind of the new price, right? But the premium that's on those houses, because so many of them are cash flow oriented, that premium, I think, slows down. And I think that um, if landlords see it coming, we're not all running toward the fire exit at the same time.
Mm.
And we can actually kind of fix the properties and put the people in there. And we can keep some order to the transition that I think is going to happen over time.